Welcome back to another episode of the Pickle Pulse. I am your host, Brian Green, and today, virtually, we have our co-host, Miss Christie Barker, who just returned back from Texas. Is that right, Christie?
Just back from Texas, and you know what they have in Texas?
Well, Chicken. I know what do they have? I just talked over it.
Pickles.
Oh, pickles. I was going to say everything's bigger down there. That's what I hear.
And it's actually rainy there right now. They're in a big rainy season. It is hotter here. It might still be more humid that direction, but it is hotter here. But they do have chicken and pickle, and I went to my first chicken and pickle venue, and it was awesome.
Yeah, they're really nice. I actually played in the Dallas-Fort Worth chicken and pickle down there.
Okay, so you've been to one.
Yeah, it was super fun. My buddy set up a game against a 5-0 and a senior pro down there. He was a senior pro, and I'm almost a 5-0. So it ended up being an awesome game. And then the cool story is our time was up at 9, and the guy who was working the front desk, who had been watching us play, walked over and said, "You guys can just keep playing. I'm really enjoying watching you." And I was like, "That's awesome." So we played 2 more games after that.
When someone says that, that's awesome.
Yep, definitely felt good. Well, we are on episode 20 something, I would say, for the pods, and I've got a bunch of paddle reviews and stuff out there, but I don't count those as episodes. And I just wanted to reconnect with the people out there, some of the people that missed our first episode. So just tell me, or tell the audience, because I already know, just a little bit about who you are, Christie, and not necessarily your long pickleball story, but the level you play at and yada yada.
Yeah. So I am, who am I? I'm a lover of pickleball. I have gotten into this sport and just completely addicted to it, as many of us are. I've been playing for about 5 years, I would say. I think I actually started summer 2019 and have been playing pretty much constantly ever since, 4 to 5 times a week. Absolutely love it. I'm a right-sided player. I love a good, strong mixed partner, boys out there. I am a 4.89 on Duper, always seeking that 5.0 level. I'm trying to break through. That's one of my goals, to get to a true 5.0 on Duper. I'm not there yet, but that's one of my goals. I really enjoy the tournament scene. I love competing, love what this sport does for us. So a little about me.
That's amazing. And Christie is not going to brag on herself, but I will, and say that she is one of the best female players in the Northern Virginia area. And we all vie for her attention when it comes to mixed, but only the best guys will get her. I'm Brian Green. I'm a 4.82 in Duper. And I'm also just desperately trying to get to 5.0, but that has been a 2-year goal. I play probably 6 to 10 tournaments a year, and I play 5 days a week. As long as my wife doesn't throw a hissy fit or my kids need me to take them somewhere, I am on the pickleball court because I'm fully addicted. So that is our little intro there. And now we're going to talk MLP pickleball, because not only are we addicted to playing pickleball, but we love watching pickleball. And the pro scene has gotten so out of control fun to watch. And the MLP format, in my opinion, is the best format to watch it, because it's so unpredictable. You have interesting matchups week in and week out. And if you're not watching it, you need to start tuning in, because as the year goes on, we're going to have a race towards a championship, which is going to be super cool and fun to watch. So
absolutely electric.
Yeah. So with that being said, I wanted to just break it down, and we'll have 10 little points. We do our 10 from the weekend on PPAs, so we're going to do a 10 from the weekend on MLP. And number 10 is the cameras. I was watching this weekend, and I don't know if it was the indoor facility, if it was the lighting, if it's the new Vulcan ball. Something seemed different, where the quality of the show was so much better. The ball was clearly seen, and you could see the speed of each match. And it really looked like high-level pro. I walked away from it going, there's no way I could play at that level. Whereas a lot of times in the past, you look at it and you go, maybe I could do that. So I don't know. Did you notice that as well, Christie? The camera seemed better to you?
I definitely noticed that, and I think you touched on a key part there. I think being indoors probably helped. Brian and I, for those of you who don't know, went to the MLP DC event. It was as hot as it could possibly be. So I imagine that that heat had an impact on the ball, made it look a little bit slower, more doable. And then you fast forward to this event, which is completely indoors, climate controlled, and made for a much faster paced ball. It was really fascinating to watch.
Yeah. No, I really enjoyed it, and I don't know. Again, if they change something, kudos to you. If not, maybe we should just move more towards indoor facilities for all these. I think that there are a handful of pros out there that want it. There are a handful that certainly don't as well. But for the viewership side, and I'm sure for the spectators, they weren't baking in the sun like we were in DC. I was a little bit jealous as I got quite sunburned sitting out there for 3 days in the 90-degree heat. So now after Utah, we are into a little past halfway point of the season, and the standings just came out after all the results. And there are 3 teams at the top that have really defined themselves as the teams to watch. Can you guess what those teams are? Christy, you don't have a cheat sheet in front of you, do you?
I'm not at my cheat sheet. I do happen to have a cheat sheet, but I will go. You can go back a couple podcasts ago where I actually predicted one of these teams.
Yes, and you're a fangirl for one of them, I know. Go ahead and say, go ahead, Christy.
I predicted Dallas Flash, which is at the top.
Mm-hmm.
Had very good feelings about the St. Louis Shock. So those are 2 of those teams up there.
Yep. And then the other one at the top is the Texas Ranchers. And those 3 teams have far and away pulled in the standings. And you'll see it up here on the screen. I'll pop it up for you guys. That the Dallas Flash now has 31 points. The Ranchers have 29, and the St. Louis Shock have 28. Now, they have played the most matches, but their points per match are the highest by far. And the New York Hustlers are the only guys that are close, but they seem to win a lot of dream breakers, or at least did in DC. And that's how they have their standings now. The 3 top teams are winning matches consistently. And that's what you're not seeing from the rest of the crowd. So you predicted those guys. Now let's talk about the best of the rest or the worst of the rest. And I wanted to ask you, of the teams that aren't in the top 3, which is the one that you think has the shot to really make a run at a championship, or are those 3 teams the championship teams and it's kind of been decided?
Yeah, so I think 2 stand out to me. And as you mentioned, one could look at these standings and say that they are a little skewed because those 3 teams at the top, like you've said, they've played the most events. So therefore, of course, they have the most points. I do think that's really important to note. As you mentioned, Brian, though, I think that you hit the nail on the head. Their points per match is higher. 2 that I want to watch for that are currently in the middle of the pack, of course, is our local hometown favorites, the DC Pickleball team that I know you've been time, and I've been mostly cheering for unless they're playing against Anna Bright and the St. Louis Shock. Other one that I think has emerged, especially since the mid-season tournament, is the fives. And I know we've kind of critiqued Anna Leigh a little bit in past podcasts of like, can she be the one to carry a team? A lot of people look to Anna Leigh and Ben Johns to be able to carry whichever team that they're on. That's why they go in their first rounds of the draft. Anna Leigh, I think, proved herself in that mid-season tournament by getting her first MLP win and emerging as a really strategic and smart and leadership type of player. We all knew she had it in her. We just didn't know when it would emerge, and here it is. She great things for that team. So I am watching DC Pickleball team, and I'm absolutely watching the New Jersey Fives.
I like it. I like it. So you stole one of mine in that I still think DZ has a very legit shot to go to the top. So we can agree upon that. I have been very suspect of the fives since the beginning. And after their mid-season win, it's hard to dispute that they can't win at any point. Now, what I will say is that watching them in Utah, if Will Howells is not playing well, then they will not win. And what I noticed from watching a bunch of matches is, number one, the kid is crazy good. He belongs in the premier level. He played well with Zane in men's, and he plays excellent with Anna Leigh. But I mean, when you have Anna Leigh to your right, it is easy to play that well. But I think the team goes with him. So, disagree or agree with me. I would love to hear in the comments if you guys think I'm onto something there, because Anna Leigh can only do so much, and she does control a lot of the court, but the rest of the team has to back her up. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but on the other side of her in gender is Mari Humberg. Is that correct? So
Mari, the backhand flick. I love
that's
it.
exactly what I was going to talk about. And I, wow, watching her play this weekend, she might be one of the steals of the draft for the fives because her backhand flick is as good as most of the men out there and is giving everyone issues. And she's also super consistent. So, okay, I guess I'm going to have to agree with you that the fives can go all the way as they've proven in the midseason.
Yeah, and so what that means for me, what I'm taking away is those five teams that we've mentioned, the top three, as well as DC and the fives. I mean, I could easily see any one of those teams emerging at the top. I'm really excited to see the last half of this season.
Okay. Well, I like your predictions. I think we're on the same page for the first time ever. So winning. Um, let's talk about some of the bottom dwellers that are down there. Obviously, we've got the Utah Black Diamonds. So they made a big change. They dropped Jay Develier, added Connor Gurnett. Didn't help them at all. And the interesting thing is, Connor is a great player, but in watching him play this past weekend, he seemed to want to pull the trigger at the wrong times. He looked like Brian Green out there when I'm playing some 5-5s, trying to do too much, and overhit it, hitting into the net, making unforced errors. He's had struggles this year with yipping on his serve, which I think that might be gone. I didn't hear or see too much of that. But I didn't really think that his play was excellent. Did you watch any of the Black Diamonds?
I did. So one notable thing, they did get their very first win of the season. So I share, the same concerns that you do with them. We've kind
Mm-hmm.
of heard them all year. I do think it says something that they made this trade and they got their first win. So I think that's like a check mark in the positive column for the team chemistry or what Connor Garnett is bringing to the team. It was great that they got their first win against the Arizona Drive. Which has a pretty strong team. And also Andrei Deascu is back on the Arizona Drive. So you've got a pretty strong team there. I think the really unfortunate thing that happened for the Utah Black Diamonds was losing to the Orlando Squeeze.
Mm-hmm.
And Orlando Squeeze had 3 subs on their team at the time that Utah Diamonds lost to them. And some of them aren't even challenger players, those subs that were subbed in there. So I think it was a really hard loss for them to lose to the Orlando Squeeze. I think that was the bigger takeaway that I had from the weekend is they're really not even a challenger level team right now.
Yeah, yeah, and that was kind of my takeaway after that loss as well. I could not believe what I was seeing, and that I thought they would be licking their chops going into that match, going, "We have a really good shot at this." And the team chemistry, I would agree, they seem like they're on the same page. What I would like to see is a mix up in the ladies, and I wonder if Connor Pardo is there, thinking about that. And what I would do is not necessarily drop Alex Trung because she's an up and coming star. And I think she's got a lot of juice left in the tank. I would maybe replace Callie Smith with someone younger, someone more of an upside player, someone that plays aggressive like Alex does. And don't get me wrong, Callie played fine. But if you look at their score lines, they're getting spanked in women's over and over and over again. And something's got to change.
The only hard thing that I would argue about that, though, is if you take Callie away, I think you're taking away the morale of the team. Watching Callie interact with her teammates, she is such a positive force. She is there matching energy levels with everybody. She's fist pumping, she's yelling. I think if you lose Callie, you lose a little bit of energy. And that's not to say that other players don't bring energy. We all know Alex Strong can bring energy. I think
Mm-hmm.
Callie's is contributing a little bit more there and for the whole entire team, even when she's on the sidelines, which I think is really valuable. So that's something to think of too when you're looking at team chemistry. I don't know, it's a tricky one.
It really is because I mean, look, they've got Tyler Lung, they've got Connor Garnett. I feel like that's a pretty decent men's team if those two guys can get on the same page. And I think Connor just needs to play a little better than he did this past weekend. Um, but the team chemistry, how good can it be when you're like 1-9? Nobody's feeling warm and fuzzy right now.
Well, I tell you what, look more warm and fuzzy than the Carolina pickleball team,
You stole my thunder. I was going to say, speak of morale.
who has slightly a few more wins, not many more wins, slightly a few, but they seem less warm and fuzzy than the Utah Black Diamonds, who at least have some energy and some go get 'em left in the tank.
Yeah, I am really wondering what is going on with that team. And that you thought for sure that Ben and Khaled would win most of their men's matches. And they're pretty consistently losing in the MLP format. And they've been losing on the PPA a good bit this year as well. But the it seems like no one is having fun there. And I wouldn't want to be a part of it. If Ben called me right now and said, join up, Brian, I would go, oh, no, I don't think I can handle the death stares in between points.
Their locker room talk, I don't want to know anything about it. It is just, it's energy sucking. Like it
Yeah.
is, it's very interesting. When I was in Texas this weekend, I was visiting family who know very little about pickleball, and I'm trying to watch some MLP as I'm able to in between family dinners and paying attention to my nephew, of course. But one of the things they asked me is, when you watch a pro pickleball match, what are you watching? And of course, we're watching patterns and how well the team does, and what the matchups are like, etc. But one of the things I told my cousin that I really pay attention to is the emotion of the sport. You know, I love when people get really into it. I love seeing facial expressions. I like watching reactions. And it was painful to watch the Carolina pickleball team. It
Yeah.
was hard.
And it has been at pretty much every event. I feel like we're broken records coming in going, what is wrong? I just don't think Ben likes MLP. It's what it seems to me. He doesn't want to be there. And I don't know if I were Colin right now, I'd be feeling really bad about myself all the time because there are no smiles or it's going to be okay or I got you. The team talk there is non-existent, and you know you've got Jesse Irvin who's known for that. So the question is, what do if you're Tom Dundon and that's your squad? I don't think they have a shot at the championship unless they make some changes.
Yeah. And bringing Brooke Buckner in, switching out Andrea Coop.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I actually feel bad for Brooke Buckner because I was thinking, oh my goodness, girl, you're coming to a place where there's not much positivity.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then better for Andrea Coop, you know, getting out of that environment. And I'm thinking, okay, maybe she can do a little something somewhere else. But I don't know that it's much better for her over where she is with the Columbus Sliders either. Very interesting trade there. I think she may have gone to a similar environment.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I as I predicted at the beginning of the season when they spent all their money on Ben and then did not get anyone else throughout the draft, I don't see Carolina Pickleball Club being any good this year. Not unless something dramatic changes, which is shocking since they have been on the team.
I agree.
All right. Number 8. Let's talk about the Dallas Flash.
Okay.
They are a team that when they were drafted, I thought were going to be quite excellent. Look, you got JW in Georgia, and you got Augie Gee, and then who's playing on the other side of Augie?
Tyra Black.
Yes, there you go, Tyra. I mean, you look at it on paper and you go, this is a good team. But then you watch them play and they're so solid. And then Augie Gee is another one of those draft picks that I think is just playing way above his pick number right now. And he's so consistent. I think the Flash is my team to win it all. They could, as long as J Dub doesn't have a moment where he just doesn't play his best, which he does do from time to time. We're all human. But I think that's the team to watch for sure.
I agree with you, and I appreciate that because that puts some money in my pocket. I think based on a bet I made earlier. Earlier,
We're gonna have to go back to that first pod.
I I love the Dallas Flash, not only for their play in the doubles area, but for their dream breaker abilities as well. These are four stellar singles players. Also, I think the one for me that might be the difference maker for them is going to be Georgia. She's had some rough pressure moments lately. She's had some pressure moments where she does excellently, and then she has some pressure moments where she doesn't do so well. So I think as long as she can hold up under pressure, I think that she'll be fine. I'm thinking back to a recent PPA event where she and her brother were in the third game up against Anna Leigh and Ben Johns. I think they were up 5, and Ben Johns and Anna Leigh came back and won the match 12-10, just because of some simple errors there at the end from Georgia. High pressure situation. She's playing lights out, and she has some moments, like I said, of rising to the occasion and playing through some really tough pressure moments. But I think if Georgia can stick it out under pressure, like we know she can do, she's certainly capable of it. I think that they could go all the way as well.
Yeah. And I think that's a really good point, because that was a heartbreaking loss for the Johnsons. I distinctly remember it. And hopefully they're learning from that. But the thing that I like about the Flash is that we're not in the PPA format. We're in the MLP format. And that changes a lot of things where there's no chance. Well, I can't say no chance. There was another huge comeback that we'll talk about. But in MLP, any team can win at any point. And it's just that PPA format that Ben and Anna Leigh seem to dominate in. And I think that's what Ben likes it for. Let's be honest.
Yeah. Wow, who doesn't like to win?
Amen. See, you know, and when we talked about number 2, I stole 2 of mine away. So if you have any to throw in the mix, let me know.
Let me look at my notes. Yeah, I was gonna say I've thrown in a bunch of my points already, like Deascu being back. The Orlando Squeeze had 3 subs.
Oh, well, that can be number 7. Deascu coming back. That'll be a good one.
Okay. So you've done.
He came at Deascu's with AZ Drive, right?
Yeah, Arizona Drive.
Yep.
Okay. I don't know.
Say it again.
I don't know the rest of the Arizona Drive team. I know
Dylan Frazier, Andrei Deascu, Lacey Schneeman.
Caitlin Christian.
Yep. There you go. Yep. Okay. So that's number 7, right?
Yep, 7.
All right. So number 7, that is the big man, Mr. Andrei Deascu, comes back for the AZ Drive. And I thought for some reason in my head that he was going to miss this tournament. So when I logged in the first time to watch some of the matches and saw him on court, I was like, whoa, there's the big man. He's also playing with a brand new Proton paddle. I think it's called the Series 4, and no longer playing with that Type 1 that got him banned with all the pine tar on it.
As I say, he came back and didn't miss a beat. He's playing really well. It doesn't look like he's taken time off. He must have been, doing his stuff and still drilling and keeping fresh during his time off. If he lost a game, it was a very close margin. I mean, I'm talking 2 to 3 points. If he lost, he won some, he did lose some, but they were very close matches that he lost, especially in men's.
Yeah, and they're kind of the surprising team, because I think they were one of my top picks to be in the run for the championship right now, and they're kind of middle of the pack. I realized they didn't have Deascu for they didn't play in DC, and so he only missed that midseason championship, so that was a huge win for them. But with Dylan Frazier and him, they should really be taking down most of the men's teams. And you're right, they're losing by small margins here and there and not dominating like I thought they would. And then their girls are Lacey Schneeman and Caitlin Christian. That seems to be kind of the spot where I don't think they should make any moves yet, but the ladies have to play a little better. And I think just the team needs to play a little better. And that's kind of another team that I still believe has the ability to make a run of the championship, but they need to get their butts in gear and start scoring some points. Number 6, one of my favorite plays of the whole weekend. There were a couple of them, but Anna Leigh against Jay Develier. Jay hits a drop shot into the kitchen. Looks beautiful. Anna Leigh's running up. She's clearly going to get it. But as opposed to resetting it into the kitchen, she decapitates him. I mean, just wails on the ball and then walks away like, that's what I was That's what I wanted to do. Happy, no sorry. I mean, it was just vicious. And I haven't seen that side of her. I know she's a ferocious competitor, but wow. Did you see that play? I assume you did.
I did see it. And again, I shout out pickleball memes all the time. I apologize for being a broken record. Go follow them, of course. Pickleball memes had a great snap of it. Actually, I don't know if it was pickleball memes or the kitchen, but someone put a great view of that shot on, and it zoomed in, or zoomed past, I should say, her mom's reaction to it sitting on the bench where her jaw is just dropped and her face is like, oh my goodness.
Yep. I have that I have that footage, and I'll put it in right here so you guys can see it. So number 5, there was a humongous comeback that I didn't see. As a matter of fact, I was watching this match and I thought they were down and out. But the Johns brothers were up, I believe, 24-18 on J.W. Johnson and Augie Gee. And they turned on the defense, played absolute lights out, and came back and tied it all the way up, all the way to the end, where I think the last point was like 45 seconds to a minute and had multiple resets and hand battles. It was one of the most epic points I've ever seen. And Augie puts it away. Actually, Augie punches it, Ben pops it up, and then JW puts it away across court. It was one of the best finishes I have ever seen in an MLP match. And it was so cool to see another team that has the ability to step up and beat Colin and Ben. The other thing is Zane and Will Howells beat Colin and Ben this weekend. So what is going on there, Christy?
I don't know. The Johns brothers, like you said, they're either struggling a little bit, not enjoying this as much, having maybe some rough travel plans. There's got to be some extraneous thing going on because, again, I will stand by the fact that Ben Johns is still number 1 in the world, even though he's struggling a little bit in men's right now. I'm not sure what's going on, but it says a lot that many teams are coming and beating them, not just in MLP, like we said, but also in the PPA format as well. So something's going on there. We're seeing a lot of competition for men's.
Yep. And as I was watching Colin, it seems like he's trying to be a tad bit more offensive on the right side to change his game up, to do some things differently, but it's just not working. He's trying to hit drives down the line and missing, doing speed ups off the bounce that just aren't smart. And I am very concerned for that partnership overall. If they keep losing, I just can't imagine that Ben is going to stick with them. The other thing is, does it show a flaw in Ben? Is he really still the best in the world at this point when so many people are coming back? Because what I would love to see that we're not going to see is someone else play with Anna Leigh, just one PPA, and let's see if Ben can still win mixed. What do you think, Christy? Could he still do it?
It would be very tricky because, again, no matter, so if you were to pair Anna Leigh with another male and pair Ben Johns with another female, the disparity there is that there's no other woman close to Anna Leigh. So that makes it the tricky part. You can find a guy that's close to Ben. You can't find a woman that's close to Anna Leigh.
Mm-hmm.
Will ever know the answer to that, but I would love to see it play out. I would love, put me in the front row seats for that one. That would be pretty.
Yes. Number 4, DC Pickleball team and the New York Hustlers were MIA in Utah. So not every team is going to go to every event. And fortunately for us, DC was not out there when they're across the country. Hopefully, when they're back over on the East Coast, we'll have more DC matches to watch. But with those two teams missing, it opened up opportunities for a lot of teams to move up the standings. And I think that's why you see our DC team kind of middle of the pack right now, is we just haven't played enough matches yet, because I still believe in the team, especially with the addition of Vivian Glozman.
Yes. The Vivian Glozman pickup is excellent, and we love Elise Jones. We're grateful to her. We hope she's doing well where she is. I don't know how she did or is doing in the Challenger League now, but it was phenomenal to be able to pick up Vivian Glozman. That's a huge victory. They came out strong in the last or the midseason tournament, and they're only going to get stronger from there. So keep watching for the DC pickleball team, of course.
Yeah, yeah. I agree. The other thing is, I think we talked about this in our last one, but the New York Hustlers, I still am a little sus on them, in that I feel like they have two men. CJ seems pretty solid. He might be like rookie of the year if there's a thing for that. But Jack Sock is so hot and so cold, and so that team is going to be really interesting to watch. Do you think that New York still has a chance to make a run at a championship based on how they're put together?
I don't think that they're going to be the top. I don't think that they're going to be a championship team. I think that you've got other teams that have gelled, are continuing to gel, are making moves, are really coming into a nice routine. I don't think that they're there yet, but I still think that they're a pretty strong team. I would love to see them continue into next year, because I think if they continue to play together, and CJ gets more experience under his belt, I mean, really Jack Sock gets more experience and continues to grow and expand his skill set. I think that we had mentioned that was a team that I think was drafted for long-term results, not necessarily short-term. It's a very team, but short-term, I think some other teams are stronger.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, the other cool thing is at the end of the year when they have to do a mix-up, because every team has to drop at least one player. It's going to be interesting to see kind of the moves and the shakes of the league, because there's going to be some dominant teams that are going to want to stay together, I have a feeling.
I would agree with that. I don't know who you would take from St. Louis Shock, for instance, right now.
Mm-hmm.
I leave them together? Like, drop Kate real quick and pick her right back up. Like, I don't know what to do there. I don't know if there's a way that they can cheat the system and try to drop and regain the same player. But if there's a cheat code, let them know, because I think that's a team that needs to stick together.
Yeah, and I think Kate Fahey has proven that she can hang in the Premier League, or at least I hope that she's proven. It seems to me that she's done that. I know she's playing on the other side of Anna Bright, which has got to be fun, but very, very solid player.
Yeah, agreed.
Number 3, Tina Pisnick is the absolute steal of the draft. So what do I mean by that? She is playing lights out pickleball. If you look at her performance and results up to so far, she's in the top 10 as far as individual player results. And she only wins in women's, and pretty much in mixed as well. I love her play. And as in fantasy football, there are middle and late round draft picks that can win things for you. And I think for the Ranchers, she is that middle to late round pick that is going to take them over the top. What say you, Miss Christie?
I would agree with that. I don't remember what number she went. I know she wasn't one of your top 10, top 20 picks, but she is an excellent pick because of her consistency. She is so amazingly steady on the right or the left. She's flexible, adaptable. She is going to get the job done. So I completely agree with you. I don't know that she's the steal of the MLP picks. Is that how you phrased it? But
yeah,
I think excellent pick. I don't know. A steal, I might say Hayden Patriquin, just based on earlier results, not necessarily his performance here, but the other MLP events that we've seen. For me, Hayden Patriquin is one of those, like, up and comers who is still rising and still making a big splash and doing great things, and I think thrives in the MLP atmosphere.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, look, I can't argue too much with you on that, other than watching them this past weekend. They did not look as lights out as they did in DC playing indoors. So I think they're going to have really hot weekends, and I think they're going to have cold weekends. And that's one of the cool things about MLP, is that there are 5 teams, I would say, maybe even 6, that have a legitimate shot at winning the championship at any point, as long as they get into the race and can play well. So number 2, the Mad Drops had no Thomas Wilson this past weekend. He was replaced by Hovenier. Do you know his first name, Christy? I'm drawing a blank right now.
I believe.
Say it again. Blaine Hovenier. Yes, I think you're right. And he's a really good player, but I will say that in watching a lot of those matches, they were picking on him heavily. He was getting a lot of balls, and the Mad Drops, even with Cathrine Parento, didn't seem to be dominant on the women's side or in the mixed side when she was on the court. And so I think that's another team that's in big trouble. They're going to have a hard time coming up the standings. And Thomas has got some sort of health issue going on that I don't quite know about. He hasn't been too vocal, or at least to my knowledge, about what's going on. And if he doesn't come back, they're in a whole lot of duty.
Yeah, they're going to have a little bit of trouble. So I think that there were some good moments and some not so good moments. But in professional sport, you can't have some not so good moments. You got to perform pretty consistently to be able to rise to the top and get that championship. So I do think there's going to be a bit of a struggle there. And I don't know what's going on with Thomas either. I didn't know if it was health or injury or something like that, but I hope he gets better and comes back quick for his team. We love seeing him on the court. He's just such a good attitude and good energy.
Absolutely. Well, and I like to play GM. It's just one of the fun things that my brain comes up with when I'm thinking about all this. And if I were the Mad Drops GM and I had more knowledge on Thomas and knew he wasn't going to come back, I would consider blowing that team up and trading them off to some other teams that need more help, and then rebuilding next year and trying to recoup some of the cash. Because I think other teams can pick up players for cash and pay the other teams, just like Utah did with the Squeeze, or the Squeeze did with Utah, one way or the other. So, yeah. As GM Brian says, if Thomas isn't coming back, blow it up, see what kind of money you can get, because at this point, you got no shot.
I agree.
All right. And number one of the coolest things happened this past weekend with one of my favorite players, and that is my boy Zane Navritil, who's always wacky, always fun. If you're not watching his stuff on YouTube, he is hilarious and does lots of pros versus Joes. But your boy Hayden Patriquin is standing on the other side of the court. He's talking smack. They're doing well. I think they're beating the snot out of him at this point. So, he's being a bit yappy. And Zane walks over to Will, whispers something to his ear, lines up, and boom, nasty Nelson right in the middle of a match. And I'm going to put the clip in right here.
I wanted to say I saw that coming, but I did not see that. Hayden shaking his head, smiling, laughing it off. Wow.
How funny was that? And I love in pro pickleball fun stuff like that gets people talking, that just shows that the sport is a ton of fun. What other sport do you know other than hockey where you can fight, where you can literally bean someone with a ball, win a point? And it had to be demoralizing to Hayden. What was your take on that whole thing?
Or not, I didn't see it until just then.
Oh, really?
I didn't sharing that with me, and I completely agree with your point. What other sport can we do this in and then have it be okay at the end of the day? Pretty cool.
Yeah, it was so funny. And Zane, I actually went back and just did some like research. I was just looking up like Nasty Nelson and see what other ones I could pull, videos and things like that. And just 2 months ago on Zane's channel, he did like the 7 steps to the best Nasty Nelson. So he put a full 10-minute video out. You guys should go watch that so you can get all your friends at the park. Because I know, I hate giving these guys shout outs, but Ross and Gage, that I play with all the time, are all about the Nasty Nelson. And my big old chunky wide body seems to be their favorite one to hit. So screw you two. I'm coming for you. A matter of fact, I almost got Gage on Sunday when we played, but he's very fast. So get your friends, learn how to Nasty Nelson. Makes a whole new level to the game. You're going to have a lot of fun. I love it. I absolutely love it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll pick a target and go for it.
Yeah. I think you should just pick a girl or two that really ruffles your feathers and make them your new target.
I feel the guys would take it better. So I think that maybe I'll try a guy.
Oh, that's a whole different pod. All right. Now we need to, so future pod, girl emotions versus guy emotions in pickleball. Who can handle what? Oh, well, that's our 10 from this past MLP weekend. And I had a ton of fun prepping for this, watching all the matches. Christy, appreciate you taking some time out to talk to the viewers. We need you. We love you.
Fun. I I enjoy all pickleball, but especially MLP, like you said at the beginning. It's just so much fun. So thank you for having me as always.
Yes. Oh, it's no problemo at all. And for you viewers, we appreciate you. If you made it this far in the video, just hit that like button, subscribe, tell me anything that you like or dislike. Fact check me. I'm probably wrong on a third of the stuff that I said, but I try real hard to get it right. And, you know, we appreciate you. So definitely like, definitely subscribe, and we'll see you in the next episode.
You guys.
Peace.